Our next reader has performed and taught in hundreds of venues and institutions around the world. A co-founder of the Encyclopedia Show, he's been an individual finalist at the National Poetry Slam and has a collection of poetry from Write Bloody Publishing. A member of the internationally renowned teaching artist collective Project Voice, he's currently an environmental educator at the Morton Arboretum outside of Chicago. Please give a warm welcome to Robbie Q. Telfer. We have matching pants.
Yeah.
On
Three
purpose.
more, and now we got Maroon 5. Sorry. It's going to be a lot more of that, so gird your loins. So, hello. I am Robbie. It's good to see you. I'm going to read 3 poems that I wrote with my brain, and that's how it's going to happen. Okay. This one's called Voice. Excuse me. Voice. The comedians all say that it takes 10 years to find your voice, your comedian's voice. 10 years of bombing and bombing and bombing. And even the nights that go sort of good are tainted by the fact that you got laughs before you found your voice. The poets all say that you will publish your first book by 30 years old, or you won't publish one ever at all. They don't all say that. It just feels like that because only 6 people publish poetry books, and 5 of them are Billy Collins. When you get there, when you finally know yourself so well that you can speak in your own voice and no longer borrow your father's or your thesis advisor's or that gorgeous asshole Bob Hickok. You unwrap your own very voice and sing your own very song, and it turns out no one really likes what you sound like. Then what? Your voice isn't marketable, kid. Have you tried sounding more like the you that is famouser? Your famous voice, in the dimension where you are famous, is who we are really pumped to hear. I bought that guy's album and his t-shirt. He is pretty and nice. What are you gonna do? Were you praying this whole time just to get into heaven? And by heaven, I mean rich. And by rich, I mean popular. And by popular, confidence is sexy. And this wavery, reedy mess that is really you at the bottom of your quest hole, this is not sexy, man. This voice is a sad, damp bagel, man. I think that there is a popular TV program called The Voice, and from what I understand, those most valuable are those whose voice is the one that makes chairs turn and plastic surgery pay for itself. You are a big winner if you are liked by tastemakers and Christina Aguilera sometimes, and the audience cries because of your, Lindsay cries because of your God-given, God-glowing, The Voice. You know, maybe your voice would Google a show they've never seen before they wrote about it, but that's not what my voice does. And maybe that's why my non-plastic face is, as we very speak, cracking and disintegrating on the not TV before you. Someone I once respected once said that if no one wanted to read his poems, then he would still write because what other choice does he have? I would later learn that he was a monstrous person, not worth emulating. So I want to uninstall all the software he put into my head where my impressionable voice, innocent voice, undiscovered voice resides. God, I thought we were friends. I'm such an idiot. You know, maybe we find it when we stop believing in all the people we followed into this forest. My thesis advisor got drunk and made me cry and apologized, but still wouldn't go hiking with me or refriend me on Facebook. It's petty. Maybe our voice is the unmistakable, desperate sound of someone speaking alone into impossible, lightless labyrinths, the walls of which discernible only by the voice, bouncing off it, echolocating pinball sound ricocheting into the man chest of the monster at the maze's center. That can't be right. Thanks. You can clap after each poem. Like Jeb Bush. Please clap. All right. God, remember when Jeb Bush was the only thing we had to worry about? Good times. Yeah, oh, so innocent. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read off my phone like a millennial. So there's this thing called the windshield effect. Has anyone heard of this? The windshield effect is an expression, maybe when you were younger, you were driving in a car and it would be in the country and your windshield would be covered in dead bugs. And has anyone noticed that doesn't happen anymore? That's the windshield effect. We are losing all of our insects, and it's a bummer. The Chicago region just did the people at the Peggy Notabart Nature Museum did a citizen science study that said in the last 18 years, 31% of the butterflies have disappeared in our region, and 52% of the dragonflies. So that sucks, but, and I wrote this poem. It's called The Windshield Effect. And there are solutions to this. It's not all hopeless. I could tell you about those later, but it requires changing our lives. The windshield effect. The news isn't good. It isn't evil either. The news vomits 58 minutes of real doom blood, but on a lighter note, here's a video of a rat wearing a tiger costume. Good night, Chicago. An old commie organizing tactic goes, you frame every struggle with victories and hope. Like the only reason we eat sandwiches is the bread. So you sandwich your message. You're like, hey, we had a lot of victories the other night, but everything's horrible, but you're pretty. My partner has celiac disease and sometimes gawks at me like a pervert when I eat clearly delicious breads. Don't know what we got till it's gone. They have recently discovered dozens of different aquatic fungi at the bottom of the Great Lakes and immediately sandwiched their conservation in the gluten-free bullshit of who knows what disease these fungi might cure. I understand you need to get funding, and I understand lots of people don't see worth in something unless it cures someone they know personally of the thing that is currently killing them. Something people say to get you to like bats is that they can eat, I like bats, bats can eat 1,000 mosquitoes in an hour, which is probably impossible, and also shouldn't be the only thing that keeps the little Caesar inside you from thumbsing down all bats in our big blue Coliseum. And I know Little Caesars is also a shitty pizza restaurant. Though I gotta say, crust with the pretzel looks pretty, okay. Now I'm gonna play some characters. Oh my god, it was fucking huge. What was? The spider? Oh yeah? Like how big? Like this? So, an inch? Yeah, fucking huge. Did you walk away from it on your comparatively enormous legs? No, I had to smoosh it with a Bowden catalog. Bowden, is that the right reference? I should get, was it the Delius catalog? Cool. The news about the bugs. It isn't good. This will be calamitous to us, our crops, food webs, and yet, here I am telling you that that's not a good reason to save them. If you don't want your species to extinct forever, is the God you pray to a hope that you will one day cure another species' hemorrhoids? I hated Obamacare, but then I got to live a little longer, and now I love it. What do you call a protest vote? Where you vote for the candidate who most perfectly reflects your heretofore unelectable worldview. A vote. Anyway, I vote for bugs. Thank you. So yeah, you can like plant native plants. We could use less bug spray. I think we're kind of addicted to it. And yes, just walk away from the spider. It won't hurt you. This last piece is called Data Limit, and it It's only sort of about cell phones. Thank you for listening to me, by the way. And if you'd like to come to the Morton Arboretum, we have lots of wonderful educational programming for you anytime. You can learn about safe bugs. Data limit. I sent you a text when you died. I'm not sure why. I'm really glad you didn't write back. That would have been terrifying. I'm not sad I did it either, even though I was way over my data limit that month. I would throw a dime in the garbage again for the chance to tell your phone that I love you. And I really don't know why. See, I'm not superstitious. I don't believe in ghosts or astrology. This world is weird enough. We don't have to look to far-off stars to try and give meaning to why Stephen at work hates us. But just because I don't believe in ghosts doesn't mean that I'm not afraid of them. I'm from Chicago. In Sufjan Stevens' song, Chicago, he sings, "All things go, all things go." I take this to mean that everything moves and also everything leaves. All things go, all things go. I'm not actually from Chicago. I'm from a city an hour away, but Sufjan Stevens doesn't have a song that makes me ugly cry in my car called Joliet, Illinois. I've made a lot of mistakes. There is a difference between knowing and understanding. Understanding and believing. I know that you are gone. I understand you are gone, but I don't believe it. No, I believe you are gone. I know you can't get a sunburn from the moon. I understand if you don't text me back. How does one carpe diem? Who wakes up and starts grabbing at days? This day is almost over, and all I got out of it is a handful of tamaras. I'd like to not fail in your honor too, but I don't know what that means either. We have a gabillion expressions for tricking our brains into getting out of bed, but no magic collection of words brings you back to me. But I wrote this text anyway. Feels better than not writing. The words weren't meant to get a reply. The words were meant to be you, still laughing, alive. This is the you that I have left. I love you. I don't understand where you are. I don't believe in ghosts, but I know I can see you here. Thank you.